Hey friends! So it's been a minute since I talked to you, since I've been on this channel. It feels unfamiliar. Nothing particular happened or anything. So I did film some videos at the beginning of February that I was going to upload while I was on holiday, and then I found out that the audio was really bad, so I couldn't upload them. And then I was on holiday, and then I got back and I haven't filmed yet. I'm kind of sick, actually. I don't have coronavirus, but I just have a cold and it's really annoying. But I get to read a lot, and so as you can see behind me, maybe, I just finished, finally, it's the 29th, and I finished the literally dead book club book of the month, which is The Other People by a CJ Tudor. And honestly, I wanted to start a reading vlog kind of with a rant about this. I know not everybody has read this book. If you're part of the book club, probably by now you have. But if not, they're just gonna be spoilers. But I'll tell you when they happen. But I do want to rant about it, and I don't feel up to actually getting ready and setting up to film a proper video. So I'm doing it in this format. Why is there so much garbage behind me? Old receipt. Let's get rid of those. Okay. So reading this book was kind of like a roller coaster, in the sense that I couldn't ever decide how I felt about it. I wasn't particularly invested or enjoying it, but at the same time, I just kind of kept reading. So and kind of banking on the ending being good, but it was terrible, so I hated it. I think it's like a 1 star, honestly, just because the ending made me really mad. So this book is basically about this man who drives home from work one day, and in the car in front of him, he sees in the backseat his daughter, Izzy. She's 8 years old. She mouths like daddy at him, and then she's being pulled down. So he gets really worried and he calls home, and a detective picks up telling him that his wife and daughter have been murdered. But he's like, no, I just saw my daughter. So they don't believe him, and he goes in search for his daughter. That's kind of the premise of this. Okay, let's talk about non-spoilery thoughts. Okay, first of all, I think the book is unnecessarily convoluted. It's really, really confusing. There's so many characters, and you never really feel invested in any of their POVs. For the longest time, you don't really know how they're connected, and I mean, I kind of guessed a lot of it, but you don't fully know, and so it's really difficult to follow their stories as a whole, as like the big picture type of thing. It was just exhausting, to be honest, to be having to keep up with so many different people and like all the shit that they had going on, and I didn't really care about any of it, to be perfectly honest. In that sense, even though it's so convoluted, it's also not that difficult to predict how it's gonna go, at least, especially like slowly, like second half of it, you know, you have like most of the pieces, so it kind of felt like the core story wasn't that original and difficult to predict, and the author just kind of made it more convoluted in order to hide the truth, but it wasn't done in like an organic way. I'm not sure if I'm explaining this correctly, but it didn't feel like an organic way of like making it harder to predict. It was just kind of like trying to confuse you as much as possible so you couldn't possibly get there. Okay, then let's get into some spoilers. So first of all, the paranormal element of this book is so unnecessary and annoying, and I hated it. I hated it from the second it came up as like potentially being a paranormal thing, and I was hoping that the book was gonna have a rational explanation for us sometime soon. But to be honest, the whole thing with like Izzy being afraid of mirrors and the pebbles she brings back, like there was no way that was gonna be a rational explanation, right? Like how would you explain that? That makes no sense. And I violently hate paranormal takes on thrillers. Like it just don't do it, especially in this book where it honestly didn't even matter. Like it only to show this like weird connection between Isabella and Izzy, and honestly I was like almost hoping for the ending to be like he finds out, or like there's like a hint that Isabella kind of switched bodies with Izzy when they had their moment in the storm, like that, you know, getting to live on in Izzy, like that to me would have at least somewhat been a good resolution to that. Like, you know, that's kind of at least a reason for that to be part of it. You know what I mean? But it wasn't the thing. Like there wasn't even a hint or anything. So what was the fucking point? Like, why do this whole thing? It's so unnecessary. I don't need it. And then also, why is Isabella still so menacing if she didn't have like an evil plan to like switch bodies with Izzy? Because she was kind of threatening her in a way, I guess, at the end. So I don't understand. I think it's just really clumsy and like lazy writing, because why is it there? I feel like the author maybe had like earlier ideas to do something with this and then just scrapped them, and then this is what we ended up with, but it was a bad decision and I hated every second of it. Also, let's talk about the other people. I like it as a concept in theory, but the execution was terrible again. I don't think it made a lot of sense. The premise of it is that people, you know, lose loved ones, and the culprit is like let go for some reason. They're not prosecuted within the system, so these people go out and like contact others to kill them or something. Or it's said that like it's not always killing, but in the end it's always killing. So yeah, it's murdering other people, you know, in exchange for having someone murdered yourself. So their philosophy is essentially an eye for an eye. So, you know, paying back what someone has done, and essentially I'm assuming, you know, getting to, you know, being asked to do a favor that is similar or the same as what you ask them to do, right? Because it's supposed to be balanced. But here's where my problem comes in, is that this book tries to equate different crimes and like, or like different things and make them all the same. Like, I don't understand why Miriam was basically allowed to have someone murdered when they didn't murder someone. You know what I mean? Like, she was allowed to have someone killed basically without this idea of like seeking justice in the background. It was kind of just for the money, right? Like, she did it for the money. So that goes against their philosophy. And I mean, you know, they've been depicted as this really powerful, like, secretive organization that knows everything and stuff like that. But like, why wouldn't they know this? You know, they wouldn't accept her request. Why? Because it's clearly just motivated by money and greed and not by seeking justice. Also, that was way out of proportion what happened. Someone accidentally killing someone and they're in a car crash, and then honestly like spending the next 10 years by their bedside or 30 years by their bedside, I don't even know, is not at all cause to have his entire family murdered. Like, those are not equatable. And on that note, oh my god, the moment that like really aggravated me so much is when this book tried to make it about race, and I was out. It was essentially trying to claim that the only reason that Gabe got away with a slap on the wrist for drunk driving and hitting someone in a car is his white privilege, and the reason that Jaden, the Samaritan son, had to go to prison is because he's black. Like, those are not the same thing. They did not do even remotely the same level of horrible thing. Let's just recap what they did, okay? So Gabe, at 14 years of age, yes, drunk, yes, without a license, those are all horrible things, inexcusable, don't ever do that, you deserve to be punished for that. But yes, he got into a car and accidentally hit a girl, and then stopped the car, got out, sat by the victim until an ambulance came, and then spent the next 30 years visiting her every single week, sitting with her, reading to her. That's what Gabe did, yeah? He's not innocent, he deserves punishment for that, but that's what he did, okay? What Jaden did at 18 is he went out, and we still don't even know the details, so I don't know the details. But Jaden went into a man's home, hit him with a car on purpose, left his body there, did not call an ambulance, did not call anyone, and then went to a party. And you tell me that the only difference here is their skin color. I mean, that's just absurd. I'm sorry. I know there's a lot of cases where black people are given a harsher sentence for what they did than a white person for the same crime, but that is not the situation here, okay? This is, I'm so fuming mad that this is what they're trying to like push this into, because that's not a thing. Like, that's not what happened. This book is so absurd. I'm sorry, it's just making me mad. Overall, I just felt like reading this book was honestly a slog. It took me a while to get through because I didn't really feel invested in the story, and I felt like, as I said, there were so many just things that were constantly being brought up that didn't mean anything and didn't go anywhere. And we still don't know who even killed Jenny. Like, why is this not a thing that we're talking about in the book? It's all just about Fran having had to open the door and let in the killer, but no one's even like, but who's the killer? Who was the killer? No one asks that question, which to me is the most important one in that situation. So just a lot of things in this book didn't make sense to me. I didn't think that they really had been thought through enough. Kind of like, again, a situation where the author is going off of an idea that they like and then not really thinking it through 100% to the end, in my opinion. That's how I felt about it. I honestly didn't feel it was that suspenseful for the entire way through. I didn't care about it too much. I knew that Alice was Izzy basically from the time that they appeared. For a moment I thought that Fran may have been Jenny, and that they had kind of staged their murders to get away from Gabe because he had done something horrible, but in the end he hasn't done something that horrible. He's not that bad of a person. Stop making him out to be the worst of the worst when what he did isn't that bad, and he was like 14, so Jesus, chill. I mean, the result is horrible, but like his actions by themselves, if they hadn't resulted in that accident, they weren't that bad. There's so many things that you could have done that would have made this more appropriate, like everyone's reactions, the way the story progressed. It just didn't feel like it fit the crime. And the whole book is about the punishment fitting the crime. Like, that's the philosophy behind the other people, and it just fails on such a large scale that it's honestly laughable. So I'm getting really jittery. I don't know if I should be this agitated when I'm sick. This doesn't end well, but oh well. There we go. That's the other people. Don't read it. If you somehow listen to the spoilers, even though you haven't read it yet, don't do it to yourself. And if you have read it, let me know what you think. I was gonna give it like 2.5 stars or something like that 100 pages earlier, but just the ending ruined it all for me. The paranormal thing ruined it all for me, and like just the lack of logic in the book as a whole is painful. So yeah, I'm sorry this video was kind of all over the place, slightly incoherent, very low budget, but I hope to get back to doing proper videos soon. I want to film, I have a haul to film and my January and February wrap-ups. I know I'm bad. I'm gonna probably combine them because it's already end of February. No one wants to watch like a dedicated January wrap-up, so yeah, we'll do that soon. I'm sorry for being absent for so long, but hopefully once I'm better, I can come back. So I'll see you then. Have a lovely week. Bye!